Let's go to Kaduna now. You know, these are not the best of times for Kaduna state authorities. The running battle between Governor Nasir El-Rufai and teachers appears to have come to a head. The Kaduna State Universal Basic Education Board, KATSUBEB for short, is set to kick as many as 233 teachers on its payroll. Their crime is teaching with fake certificates. They are to face the full wrath of the law as a result. We recall that in April, the KATSUBEB undertook a verification to ascertain if all teachers in the employ of the state had requisite qualifications. Now, board chairman Tijani Abdullahi sure has his hands full. Can he go the whole hog? Okay, we expect him to join us by Zoom. That's the chairman of KATSUBEB. Good evening.
No.
Oh, okay, we are not joining him now. But Yusuf, you see him going the whole hog?
Yes, I do.
233 teachers.
Yes, I do. Reason, if you look at the antecedent of Governor El-Rufai, when he confronted these same people, teachers at some point, he said he would reform the sector. You see the national opera and everything. He did what he needed to do. And eventually, he employed, I think, 25,000 teachers at the time to replace. So, you may say a lot about his style and whatever, but on some issues, Governor
You're on the same page with him.
Governor El-Rufai, if he wants to do something, he doesn't bow to anything. He will do it. So this time around, believe me, he sends a very bad message about our system, that if you know the process it takes to get employed in the public service, you will know that it's not an easy thing. So how did you beat the system? That's what baffles me.
How did you beat the system?
How did they beat the system? Is it
233?
233. And many people may not bother to hear how many of them, just 233. But the implication of the damage they will be doing, because they are to mold the future of
innocent children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this
young minds.
When a tout, because that's the way I see a certificate forger, or you see a criminal molding the future of innocent children. That's serious. So I want the governor to go the work fully with him on this one.
Jide, but there's a problem here. You know, this wahala is giving birth to by our system that is heavily certificated, bring certificate. And you know, Nigerians, if you want a master's degree, then we'll go backyard while you wait here, and they bring and come give you.
And because we've got to find a standard, we can't simply engage all comers as teachers. We've got to look at people who have the requisite qualification. And in this case, we can see that 13 schools, these people were brandishing, about 451 of them were brandishing certificates from 13 schools. 9 of those schools have been contacted and they've responded. And the painful thing is, just one of those schools disowned 212 certificates. Yes. That's the Teachers Institute, NTI. You know, the headquarters is in Kaduna. The National Teachers Institute, the headquarters is in Kaduna. You know, so if you are brandishing an NTI certificate, that's where you are trained and all that, and it is fake, then it's bad enough. So if the government wants to go the whole hog and hand them over to the Ministry of Justice for prosecution, I think there's nothing wrong
because
about
it's
that.
Not just enough to kick them, you know. Let them face the
law, so that others can learn.
That's it.
That's what others can learn. We can't have a situation in which people will flout our laws and then get away with it. I'm happy that even the NUT, that over time had always disagreed with this governor, has said, look, if anyone is parading a fake certificate, we are not going to get involved. They are not going to get involved. So let that person face prosecution. But If you are sure of your certificate and you have been listed among such people, then we can interface on your behalf with the government of the day. So that is where we are. You know, you just have to do your best to ensure that our children get the benefit of the best form of instruction.
That's it.
Because that's how, it is not how beautiful the schools you build. It is not the beautiful schools that matter. It is the quality of instruction. If we do not get the quality of instruction right, honestly,
every other thing
we'll turn out how big.
Okay, we'll go on a commercial break. At least make some money. Please bear with us. We'll be back shortly. All right, then we're still in Kaduna, and it's time to join the Director of Human Resources at Katsubeb, Alhaji Tijani Abdullahi. Brother Ahmed, good evening to you. Yeah, Head of Human Resources at the Katsubeb. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Good.
I'm good.
All right. These are not the best of times for you and you at Katsubeb. So with this thing on your plate, where do we go from here? 233 teachers.
Yes, and I know will be more on the way because the process is an ongoing thing. Our process of validation of certificates is an ongoing thing. It's just one of the tools that we use to improve the quality of our teachers and thereby improving the learning outcomes of our pupils. It's one of the strategies that the board undertake normally. It is not an annual thing. It's a normal ongoing process. Every time we take certificates of some of our teachers, we send them for verification and authentication from the institutions they claim to come from or to acquire the certificates. And when we get the feedback, we act on it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but what's gladdening to us is the fact that you are not just kicking them. I mean, that's relieving them of their teaching jobs. You are taking them to court.
Of course.
You don't think that will ruffle feathers?
No, not at all. Not at all. Forgery is a crime against the law of the land. It's a crime against humanity. It's a crime against even the pupils that were entrusted in those teachers' hands. And so we believe the full wrath of the law should be enforced to serve as a deterrent to others.
Yeah.
Because the negative implication or the implication of this forgery is in some ways part of the effect that we are seeing in the deterioration of the learning outcomes of our pupils, and also part of the deterioration of the prestige of teaching and the prestige of a teacher, in such a way that you see people who forge their certificates, they contracted the teaching job to some other people because they know they don't have the stuff. You can't give what you don't have. And so it's a vicious cycle. We have to break it. We just have to break it.
Oh yeah. How soon do we expect to see the suspects in court?
Well, as soon as the Ministry of Justice and the prosecutor's office do their due diligence, ours is to hand them over and hand over their documents and everything. And the State Ministry of Justice and the Department of Public Prosecution will do the needful. We can't put a timeline to that, but at least we will do our best immediately.
Well, I got information that 212 of these fake certificates were in respect of just one institution. That 212 of them, paraded the certificate of one institution. What is the implication of this? What does this tell you?
It tells us that there is a cartel nesting in some of our institutions of learning. And such cartels work in like a syndicate manner with people both in and out, people supporting them with information and people processing that information inside. And it also tells us that innocent Nigerians, innocent citizens are being scammed. Because to get such certificate, fake certificate, we just don't want to even hazard a guess on how much it will cost them, or it costed them at the point they did it. So a lot of illicit transactions are being done under the table and below the radar of such institutions. It's a wake-up call for us. It's also a wake-up call for the institution. We will write and to sensitize them and to support them in whatever way that we can, because we have the records of these people parading fake certificates. We have their locational addresses and so on based on their employment records. If the school wants us to avail them, we will do that, those things. And I believe the institution will also take it up with the law enforcement agents to do an internal introspection because it shows that something endemic is really festering them without their knowledge.
Alhaji Sani, quickly, but don't you think it is also proper to go after the syndicate?
Well, what we do is we do what is within our powers.
Okay.
And then we inform the law. The law enforcement agents have the mandate to go after anybody, anywhere. So we will stick to our mandate and exercise it appropriately.
Can we talk about the competency test that Kaduna State intends to institute as a routine, as something that is routine? The LUT is thoroughly against it and has told the teachers to not get involved in any form of a competency test. Where do you stand now on that issue?
Did they get that? Okay, mine is Adekunle, you see, mine is going after the certificate racket ring. It's important. I know it's not an easy thing, but that's what I meant by going the whole hog.
That's a very, complex thing. But it can be done.
You can crack it.
Yes, but not Kaduna alone, because if you need to solve this problem, it should be a nationwide thing. I think every state should borrow this idea from the
Lagos used to have Oluwole, am I right?
Yes. During investigation,
Did they say it's still there? Not true.
Not as before, anyway.
Okay.
But before, I was there.
Okay.
As an investigative reporter. Yeah. I did the PhD result, certificate. All this. Ordinarily, I would have loved to ask him that if this is happening, don't we need to strengthen the recruitment process? We have in place, because this is better done at the entry level. You get my point?
Yeah.
Then
from you crack it from source.
Yes. Instead of when the damage had been done. How do you, for years of service, the children who are victims, nobody can compensate them.
I hear Ahmed Sani is back. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so sorry, Jide asked a question.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, I get your question, Jide, very well. Okay. I just did a slight correction of perspective. Okay. Put things in perspective. Okay. Now, our stand is government has directed us to conduct competency tests, which is a routine instrument that government used to identify the skill and knowledge gaps of our teachers, so that we can be better informed of the training needs or further educational enhancement. This tool is just one out of many that the government has directed us to use. It was used in 2017 to fish out some incompetent teachers that were about 21,000 that were replaced with about 25,000. Now, our belief is that education being dynamic, you cannot afford to stand still. You have to sharpen your skill and sharpen your knowledge all the time. And examination has always been the best form of identifying the skill and knowledge gaps. And that's what we are using it for. Our main objective is to help us identify where our teachers are weak, where we need to complement them with training, or capacity building, or where we need to even encourage them to go for further education.
But the IUT is saying that the teachers should not get involved in any competency tests. That's why I'm asking, where are you?
I'm coming. Okay. I'm coming. NUT expressed in our stakeholder engagement, which we had several times with the NUT and other critical stakeholders. NUT expressed their discontent and their concerns. Their discontent arose from the experience of the 2017 competency test, where incompetent teachers were sacked. And their grounds is with the mandate. They thought the Kaduna State Master Basic Education or the Kaduna State government as employer of labor don't have the mandate to conduct competency tests. That misperception was blown away. We were able to explain to them as best as we can. When they insinuated that TRCN were best mandated to do that, TRCN brought their mandate and showed them that competency test is not part of them. What they are mandated to do is administer professional qualifying examination, PQE. And so all their fears, they said something about what will be the fate of the ones that failed. We asked them, how do you encourage your teachers to approach examination from failure perspective? Why don't you ask us what is the benefit of those who passed? Because this competency test is based on the syllabus of primary school pupils that were taught by those teachers. So you are a teacher, and a teacher in primary school is a class teacher, not a subject teacher. A class teacher who teaches at least 4 or 5 basic subjects. So we are testing them using the syllabus of the primary school that they have been teaching for the past 6 or 7 or whatever years. And the NUT, so the NUT's position was weak. Their arguments were all debunked. And as far as we are concerned, we are going ahead with the conduct of the competency test, and we will still stick to our objective of identifying skill and knowledge gaps to help us in addressing it with training and further education. And if and we are calling on teachers, we have severally called on teachers to respect their oath of loyalty to the citizens of Nigeria, to respect the pupils that they are teaching, and to come out and do this examination, to know that NUT is a union that is founded by law only to support them bargain with one voice. NUT are not their employers. And it is within the right of the employer to test his employees.
Yeah. Alhaji Sani, the coming days are not going to be easy for you, but we wish you Godspeed.
Thank you very much.
We're getting used to that already.
All right. Alhaji Ahmed Sani is by definition the Director of Human Resources at the Kaduna State, the KATSU BEB, if you see what I mean.